Well, what's going on, people of the internet? My name's Denny or Denny Cigarette, and today I'm coming at you with part 3 of the Opioid Odysseys. This is going to be a very early upload because I've got some shit to do today, but yeah, I'm still going to make it happen. Before we get into the video, I'd like to mention two things. Number one, according to YouTube Analytics, only 7.8% of you guys are subscribed to the channel, which absolutely sucks. Come on, guys. We can do better. Let's get me to the goal of 100 subs. We're about 32% of the way there. Let's fucking go. Secondly, as always, there are drug testing kits in the description. Please buy them. They can save a life. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So basically, right after I got robbed, I was kicked out. And let me give you some context to that. So, I was putting my grandparents through hell, right? I was obviously using every day. Sometimes mixing the opiates with Xanax and other downers that would make me black out, and I'd really do stupid shit. But there was one occurrence specifically that kind of set them over the edge, and this was after I lost the 300 of something. I'm still not going to say what it was. But essentially, I had taken, I believe 5 dilaudids, and I pre-gamed with, half a Xanny bar, too. And what ended up happening is I stood up and I went to go say hi to them, and I just straight up fainted. And I almost hit the piano that we have in our house. And that shit was super scary to them, and they kind of knew hey, he's not getting any better, and this isn't going to work out. So eventually things just kind of got super strained, and they eventually kicked me out. And that's basically what this story is about. We're going to go into how I survived, what I was doing when I was homeless, and yeah, all that. So basically, they were basically told me hey, you have 2 days to get your shit out of here. We do not care. And that was very little time, but it is what it is. So I called up my buddy, let's call him Mark. And I called up Mark and I said, hey, can you drive me to this or this location? I'm going to stay out here. Now, he picked me up and I loaded all my stuff in the car. You know how it be. And we're driving to this undisclosed park where I was going to be staying for a few days. And, we're smoking a blunt. We're talking. He's like, hey, what happened? This and that. And I kind of gave him the rundown on why I got kicked out. And he's like, damn, bro. Well, I'm sorry I can't give you a place to stay. It is what it is. But, at least this park is secluded. And, by the way, this basically where I was planning on staying was this, kind of wilderness area where there was a tree house. And that's kind of where I took out all my stuff and unpacked. It took about, 30 minutes to get there. And we start unloading my shit, putting it everywhere, and then he leaves. So I'm stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and this was such a stupid fucking idea and decision, because up until this point, I could have just quit the drugs and stayed with my family, but unfortunately, I had decided that the drugs were a little bit more important, and that really I didn't need a place to stay. So at the time, I decided that I was going to stay there, but by some grace of God, I was dating this girl, and we'll call her Cheyenne, right? Cheyenne and I had, been dating for about, I think, 2 months up until this point. And she basically told me, hey, you can come stay at my place. And what's lucky is that this park really wasn't that far, and she didn't have a car. Now, keep in mind, she hiked a whole mile or two just to come get me and bring my stuff with me. So she grabs my shit and we start walking towards her place, and she lets me stay there, which is fucking great. Now we're in, we got the bag, right? We were completely in. So me and her start smoking up. It is what it is. And we're at her place right now, we're smoking up, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And I being the scumbag that I am, I go ahead and I go into her dad's room to check for pills and stuff to see if he had anything Xans or any benzo, opiates, whatever it is, right? and I found $500 in the drawer. And without even thinking, I just fucking swiped that shit. I didn't even think about it, which was a really fucking shitty thing to do. And unfortunately, this wasn't the first time this happened. He'd basically, and I don't know why the hell he did this, but instead of blaming the stranger in his house, he kept blaming his daughter for the money disappearing. And she'd get in trouble every time, and I'd just keep taking this money. And I swear to God, I cleared at least $5,000 with this guy. Like, this happened 10 times in a row while I was staying at his house. And that just goes to show how drugs can change you as a person, you know? Sober, I would never do that. That was such a nice thing for them to do, and I'm out here, like, literally just robbing them. Like, that shit's fucked, you know? But I digress. It is what it is. So we're chilling at the house, right? And I had brought my safe with me. Now, my safe had a bunch of shit in it. It had, like, Xans, fucking multiple pills, Suboxone, PCP, Coke, basically whatever you could think of, right? So, once it hit, like, nighttime, you know, things are getting nice and cool out, me and her decide to pull out the ketamine, right? So me and her sort the ketamine, and then we walk over to like this grassy area and just kind of lay down in the grass and look up at the sky. And I remember this wave of emotions coming over me because, you know, I believe it or not, even with all the drugs in me, I felt really fucking bad about what had happened. And it is what it is, but we're having a good time, you know what I mean? And then I give her some Coke. I start railing Coke too. And at this point, I'm on like 3 Dilaudids, a little bit of ketamine, Coke, and I think like a 0.5 was in, if I can remember correct. And by the way, never mix downers together. That shit was so fucking stupid. Even with my insane tolerance to opioids, that's the stupidest thing you can do. So me and her chilling out, and that was basically our daily routine for the next like 2 weeks. But eventually her dad said, hey, you need to go. But instead of leaving, I would just go wander around the city during the day and then come back at night. Now, one of those nights, I ended up staying the night, and it was morning. And when that happened, she left because she had summer school, right? Keep in mind, like, I was pretty young when this happened. And so I stayed behind in her house thinking I could just chill in her room without her parents knowing. So eventually I realized, oh shit, I need to go pee. And I forgot if Cheyenne told me if I could go to the bathroom or not, and if anyone was home. So I walked out thinking she said yes. And then some lady who I'm not even sure to this day who it was saw me and basically called the dad and told me to stay put. So, of course, like, she holds me there, and then, like, the dad fucking comes in, and I just book it. Like, I try, like, I run into her room, I shut the door, I grab, like, as much as I can, and I try to make a jump out the window. And this guy fucking, like, instead of just letting me go, I jump out, and he, like, grabs me by my ankles as I'm, like, getting out the window and pulls me back in. I'm on the floor, and he starts fucking, like, wailing on me, and, like, what the fuck you doing in my house? I told you to get out of here, you fucking junkie, this and that. And, you know, I got my ass thoroughly beat, and then, instead of just, like, kicking me out on the street, or calling the police, he just drove me over to our local, methadone clinic and told me to get help. Which was pretty chill of him. I mean, at the end of the day, I got my ass beat and I was put on the fucking, like, lawn of this place. But at the end of the day, I didn't get the police called on me. So, basically, I ended up setting up, like, a nice little towel outside this place. And that's where I spent, like, a good 5 days. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here because I do need to get going. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, smash sub and like. But yeah, I hope you all have a good day. All right, deuces.